Do you know there is another way of inserting and updating data from Power Apps to your data source other than submit form? What it is? There is a patch function. So, curious about what is patch function? Hi, this is Krupali from Know How Academy. So, in this video, I will tell you about what is patch function and how to use a patch function in real life and what is the difference between the patch function and submit form. When to use patch function and when to use submit form. I will also tell that. If you don't know about what is a submit form in Power App, we have already created a video of CRUD operation in using Power App or CRUD operation in Power App. You can click on this link so you can see that, and then it is advisable to see this video. Thank you. Let's say you are working in one project and you are a team or you are a team member of that project. Now let's say your task is there are a list of employees are available, and when you need to select the particular employee and that particular employee salary you can update using a patch function. So how you can do that? So for that you need to use a patch function with some different functions, and also you need to add employee information in the system also. So using patch function also you can add the information. Okay, now let me show you the system, or let me show you the demo which I have prepared, and then I will teach you how to develop this demo step by step. Now this is the screen of the employee. Okay, now let's say you want to insert data into the table. Now I have already made a table. Let me show you. This is the table of department. Let me show you. Give me a second. This is the department table where the department information we are storing it. And this is the employee table. And here we are storing the information of employee, like employee ID, employee name, in which department he or she is working, and what is the salary of that employee. Now this department ID column is referencing this department ID column. So basically this is primary table and this is secondary table, or you can say child table. Now in Power App, let me first insert data into the table. Now let's say I need to insert data. Give me a second. Let me remove the old one which I have inserted. Okay, and let's say employee ID 401, 402, whatever you want to say, and let's say the name is Dara, and let's say the salary of that person is 40,000, and that she is working in at department 3, and let me save the data. So you can see the employee data is saved. Now let's say you want to update the salary of the employee. So how you can do that? So let me show you. Now this is the another screen where we can update the salary of the employee. Now let's say I'm updating the salary of Dara. Okay, now salary is 40,000. Now I want to increment that employee salary by 30%. Okay, and when I click on update, the employee salary will be updated by 30%. Now that I did it using a patch function. Even you can update the employee of salary based on some condition. How? Let me tell you. Let's say I have designed another screen that will update the employee salary based on something. Now let's say this. Let me show you the employee salary of Z. Now that employee salary, it's 10,000 rupees, and let's say I want to increment it by 40%. When I click on update, it is a salary cannot be updated. Why? Because I designed a condition like that. If the employee salary is more than 10,000, then we can update it. If it is less than or equal to 10,000, we cannot update it. Now let me show you. Let's say salary of Rishi. Let's say a salary of Dara. Now, if I want to update again the salary of employee by 10%, since it is a greater than 10,000, so salary you can update. Now, salary is updated and you can see the updated amount of that. So, how I did this? I did this using a patch function. So, let's see development of that. So, for that, you need to design, let me take one application. me a second. I'm creating application. Okay, I'm creating a blank application and I'm creating this patch function. Okay. Oh, I have already named this. So patch underscore function or patch function demo. Okay, that is also there. So patch function demo 2, I can say that. Okay, and we are going to design a screen like this. So let me design a screen quickly. Why I have taken this screen? Because it is a responsive screen. We have already created a video that how to design a responsive screen. You can check it out on that link also. Okay, so employee addition, or you can say add employee. Okay, and let me align at the middle and let me put it in the middle also. Okay, I'm not much focusing on the designing part because I want to show you the quick coding of that. Okay, so let me design, and here I'm using the department TPL employee detail, and so I can see the employee detail, and I want only the title and the subtitle. And in the field section, I want to see the employee name and employee ID only that. Okay, and I want to add the information of employee. So I'm inserting text input. Again, the text input for the name. Let me show which functions, which tables, or how many columns are there in employee table. Basically, I think 4 columns are there in employee table. Which I have designed. Yes, 4 columns are there: employee ID, employee name, department, and salary. So let me take a 3 input field, and the last one we will take it as a drop down list. Why? Because department name we need to select it. Okay, and here since every controls are existent, so I'm just adding a gap, that is 10, not 10, let me add 20 and make it the center align. And also I want to add button on that. Okay, so to save the information, and let me give a save button, and this text input I want employee ID. You can give this is, and the name of the text box is employee ID, and here employee name I have taken, and here also his name. Okay, and let me remove this, otherwise the hint text will not show. And here employee salary. You can display any hint text, it's your choice. Okay, and then salary, and here this drop down list department. Okay, and here I am selecting the table department from this, and here I will display the department ID. You can check it that on a button. I need to click on add detail or add employee. Okay, let me increase the width of the button. Height is, yes, the width of the button, let's say 200. Okay, and let's save it and let's look how it works. Okay, now this is the employee information. Now if you want to add the employee information using a patch function, how you can do that? So let me copy this code. So here on button click event, I have given a code. Let's say Control C, and I will explain the code. First of all, let me paste it and then I will explain it. Okay. Now here it is showing an error because it is the reference is different, so I will take it out. Okay, so let's say what is my text, what is my ID, EMP ID for that. Okay, so for I need to first change the text box reference name, then employee name, and here the employee salary, and my error, and here I need to take a label which will display the data. So let me add a label on that. Okay, add a text label. Okay, here I'm not putting it this side, but just for our reference, I'm selecting that department dot selected text dot value. Okay, and whatever the value, let me see what is the name of that label is label 2. Okay, here I will insert the label 2.text. Okay, now let me explain the code one by one. So basically, patch function will accept two arguments. The first argument is in which table you want to add the data. So I need to insert data into this table. So you need to write the name of the table. Then you need to write what action you want to perform. So this action default means we want to insert the data. When we are inserting data using a patch function, default indicate the insert action. Now after default, we need to write in which table we want to insert. So again we need to write name of the table. Now in a curly bracket, you need to write the name of the column of the table. So name of the column, you need to mention it. Now whether you mention it in a sequence, whether you mention it in not a sequence, it's okay. It's your choice. Then employee ID, then column, and you need to write what value. Give me a second. Here, after writing the column ID, what value you want to insert in the respective column. So employee ID, then employee name, and here in salary field, I converted the text into the value. Why? Because in table, salary is stored in a number format. But whatever you have written in the text box, it consider it as a text. So I need to convert it into a value. Because my data type is number in my table. If your data type of salary is text, then there is no need to convert it. But generally we keep it as a number. Okay, so we convert it, and then we are inserting department ID. Now remember, department ID is a foreign key which referencing the department table. So we cannot directly insert the department ID like that. But for that, we need to use a lookup function. Now what is the meaning of lookup function? Lookup function basically when the data is inserting or when the data is fetching, it will check whether this value is referencing the primary table or not. So for that, you need to write the lookup, and inside that you need to write your primary table. So my name of the primary table is department. Now you need to mention the primary key of that table. So department ID equal to which department, which I have selected that. Okay, so that I need to write it. And then if we run it, our code, and let's say we insert the data, let's say employee 900, and employee name, let's say ABC, and employee salary, let's say 4,000 rupees, and that person is working under department 2. So you can see the data is inserted, right? So this way we can insert the data into the department table. Now don't worry, I will paste this code in the description section, or you will get a file where the code of patch function is written. Okay, so I hope you get it how to insert data using patch function. Now you may have a question that what is the difference between the patch function and submit form. Now when you insert data using a patch function, you can get the individual control value and you need to insert it. Now let's say here I need to insert whatever the value is there in a text box in that particular column. But when you are using a submit form, there is a need to take a edit form control in that. Now let's say in screen you need to take the edit form, and in edit form you need to connect the data to the data source. Let's say I'm taking the data to the data source, and here you need, let's say I'm adding a field, let's say employee name, department ID, and whatever. And then compulsory you need to insert all the value which is there in a form. Okay, and remember that individual value, if you, let's say whatever value you entered in that particular text box, and if you want to process that value, you cannot do it in submit form. But let's say you enter the employee salary 5,000, but when you are inserting, automatically whatever traveling allowance is given to the employee, that is 200, can be automatically added. So if you want to do that type of process, you cannot do it in submit form, but that you can do it using a patch function. So that is the difference between patch function and submit form while you are inserting the data. Now let's say if you want to update the information of employee, that is salary, or you want to increment the salary of employee using a patch function, how you can do that. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let me take a duplicate screen of that. Okay, and this time I'm not using this text box and everything, so let me remove it. Okay, you can design your own screen if you want, but I'm just using a duplicate. Okay, sorry for that. I need to delete it. Okay, and this time I'm updating the employee salary. So let's say first, let me add a text label, and let me add the text label again, and let's say text input field, and this time button, update the employee salary. Okay, and let's say here, let me align everything into the center and upside. Okay, and here whatever the employee information I will that, so employee salary, and here it will display, and let me increase the height, that is 200, and here the salary will be displayed. So when I click on that, the salary can be done. So on that text box property, I need to select gallery 1, whatever the name of gallery, dot selected dot salary. Okay, so here it will display the salary, whatever the employee salary I am displaying. Now here I need to insert the percentage. So enter update percentage of salary. Okay, hint text I am displaying, and let me increase the width, that is 400. Okay, and let me click on button and save it. Okay, sorry, make it a save, or you can say make it update. Okay, and when I click on the update button, whatever the data is there, you need to save it. So you need to select on button, and first of all I need a variable which contain whatever salary is displayed, and then I will process it by percentage of increment. Okay, so for that, first of all I need to write set, and in set is a function which will use to create a variable. Okay, so let's say I'm creating a variable name salary cell. Okay, and what value you want to assign it. So I want to assign the value which is there in label 1.text. Not it is there, but I think if the name of the label is label 3. Okay, so this is the label 3 dot text, and whatever the value is there, I want to convert it into a numeric. So I want to convert it into a value. So value function basically convert it into a number. Okay, then after, whatever the value of that particular employee, I need to increment by number of percentage which I entered in a text box. So I need to write set, and then the name of the variable, let's say salary, and you want to increment it by number of percentage. So cell plus, then salary, whatever the salary is there, multiply by. What multiplication I want to do? Number of percentage, that is the value of text box, that is value, which text box? So text input 4 dot text. Okay, and I want to whatever the value is there, I want to divide it by 100, and then so basically I am updating the salary of the employee. Now after calculation of the updated salary, I want to update it the amount in that. So which amount I need to update? So the amount which is there in that variable. So for that you need to use a patch function. So what to write to update for that? Let me copy the code here and paste it. Okay. Now when you are updating the salary of employee, what you need to do? So you need to use the patch function, you need to use the employee, and it is showing an error because here I need to select the gallery 1 because wrong gallery control is selected, and here this cell. Okay, because the variable name in that particular screen and here this variable name is different. Now what I need to do? I need to first of all find it whatever the data is there in gallery. So filter function is basically used to find out which employee salary I am updating. Now let's say you selected the employee 111, but there may be a possibility you will not select the employee ID. Sometimes you will select the employee name. So there can be n number of record which will match with the selection. So in that case, multiple value can be updated. But where it is not feasible, so we need to select the first value which I have selected. So for that, whatever data I got using a filter, I need to select the first value. So filter basically take the value from the table, which value, the employee ID from that table, which gallery is selected, and this one will filter it. Okay, now whatever the data I get it from the filter, I want to update it. So which data? Only the first data. So you need to use the first, and then after you need to write the salary column. Salary column is the name of the column in which you want to perform updation. So update, what value I want to update? So I want to update that value. So this way you can update the value of the salary. Which value, which employee is selected. So let's check it whether it's working or not. Okay. So let's say here I'm selecting the employee and this time I want to increment it by 10%. Okay, so employee salary cannot be converted into a number. Let me just tell you, give me a second where the error is coming. Okay, here label 3 dot text. Okay, give me a second. What is the name of the label? Label 4. Okay, label 4 value. Okay, so we can do one thing that we will not assign it in like that. We will just make it a salary variable here, and in the second variable we will convert it into, no, but it's not a feasible solution for that. Let's make it a value and let's increment it by that value. Okay, we can do one thing. We will refer in that. Here we did the same thing. Okay, why we are getting an error? Let me check it out. Let me perform Control Z. Okay, let me write it cell. Okay, let me convert it into a value, and what label we are referring, that we need to make sure. Okay, so this is label 4 actually, and we are referring the label 3. That's a mistake. Okay, so label 4 dot text. Okay, and here what's the error again? Okay, here there is a extra bracket is required. Okay, so label 4 valuing, we can convert it. Okay, let's save it and make sure the label value whichever we have provided label 4, and let's test it. Let's say again I'm incrementing the salary of employee by 10%. Let me update it. So it's updated. Okay, so I write a wrong reference of that because here it is taking this employee salary text and it tried to convert it. So we can not convert it. So always remember to write the correct value inside that. So here we perform updation of a salary using a patch function. Let's say you may have a question, then what is the difference between the patch function and submit form with reference to update? Now let's say when you are taking a submit form, let's say this is your submit form. Okay, and submit form basically insert as well as delete. So what process it will going to do? Now let's say here you perform an updation and you are updating only 2 values in that. But when you perform updation using a submit form, entire record is passed and then entire record data is updated. Even though you are updating only the one value, again it will update whatever the value is there or whatever the fields are there in an edit form. So it will create a more overhead. So basically employee name if you are updating, but in your form employee ID, department it is displayed. So it will also update employee ID as well as department, although we did not perform any change. So it will create a more overhead or more traffic when we are doing the operation for client to server. So that's why for updation purpose, a patch function is useful. And one more important thing, let's say you want to update whatever the employee's salary, or let's say, let me add one more field here. Okay, let's say salary. Okay, salary. Okay, and let's say you want to increment the employee salary by 10%, but you cannot add anything extra that will mention the 10%. Okay, so for that we want to process the records individually, we want to perform some operation on that. So here patch function is advisable to use it. Now the third thing that we are going to do using a patch function is we will use if condition inside a patch function, although we cannot use if condition inside a submit form. So that is a third difference between that. So let me explain you how I did that. Okay, so let me share my screen. I'm not designing a new screen. I will explain on the same screen. Now say this is the employee salary and I put the condition that if the employee salary is greater than 10,000, then we can increment the salary of the employee. Otherwise we cannot do that. So how can we do that? So I already designed a screen. I'm directly explaining the code. Let me copy it. Okay. Let me copy and paste it in a notepad so we can zoom it and you can check it out. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, let me take a new. Okay, and let me zoom out, and for view preferences, let me increase the size. Okay, and I don't want to see the lines. And let me paste it. Okay. Now see, the same thing I use it for a set. Set is basically convert the value. Then I use the if condition, and inside the if condition I use a patch function. Now see, generally we have a practice that when we use the if condition, we will write a condition and then we will write a true part and then we will write a false part. But here, when we want to write the if condition and if the if part is true, we want to perform multiple actions. And if the if part is false, then we want to perform action. So for that, what you need to do, you need to write the if condition. Then I am writing a condition. If the salary of the employee is greater than 20,000, if it is there, then what we want to do, we will update it by whatever the value we will update. And after performing the update, we want to perform the updation in the table. So this is the same thing which we have used. But since if the condition is true, we want to perform this two action. So between these two action, don't put comma. Why? Because if you put comma, that indicate the true part is over. But here, if the condition is true, we want to perform this two operation. So after one line, after one set of operation, you need to put a semicolon and then start. So both the value you can see that which is there in the if condition if the part is true. Okay, and we will set the message that the salary is updated. But what if the condition is not true? So we want to display the message. So I created one more variable, that is salary cannot be updated. Why? Because the condition is false. So this way you can convert or you can update the salary of employee based on some condition. So we use if condition and patch function together. So I hope you get it how to use patch function in Power App. Other than this, you can consider your project or your task. You can apply whatever logic you learn here in your task.
Thank you for choosing Know How Academy as your source of IT knowledge. We are always here to help you to navigate to the tech world. If you have any question, don't hesitate to reach out us. It has been a pleasure to share this information with you. Stay curious and keep learning.